So, Cassie, I wanted to talk to you also about the casual laws and the changes that were brought in this year in terms of employers actually unable to have casual employees permanently forever and a day. They have to sort of a time frame where they must convert them or migrate them to part-time, full-time work. What's the story around that?
Yeah, so I mean, it's the sort of regular casual has been in for a little while now. I deal with it in a lot of my clients. Basically that, casuals are, I think casual employment got, what's the word? It got taken advantage of a lot, I think. So I think people thought, oh, casual employment, that's an easy way to go about it. We can get rid of people when we want. It's a very easy employment style. And I think that's where Fair Work's trying to crack down and make it that, if you're a casual employee and you do have a regular pattern of work and you do what they call regular and systematic pattern of work, and you have been with an employer for 12 months and you do have regular shifts and it's locked in place, that you actually probably are a permanent employee.
Yes.
And so you should be given that right to convert your employment to permanent part-time if you want to. And if employers need to have a reasonable, I guess they need to really take that in consideration. And if they're not willing to offer permanent part-time, they need to have a really good reason as to why not, because realistically looking at that employment, it is technically the definition of permanent part-time.
Permanent part-time.
Yeah.
So the behaviour really is really what that Fair Work would look at.
Yes, absolutely.
So I found out recently, because I've just put on a new employee casually, that we have to give them a casual employment statement.
Yes. So that's set out by the Fair Work. So there was a national employment standard. So you always give the national employment standards to all workers when they start. So that basically they have just made it. They've made a casual version. So just to separate the two.
Okay.
Yes.
I get that.
Yeah. So that's one thing that I've sort of implemented into my documentation too, is make sure that employers know that they must give the NES or the statement, when their employees start.
Yes.
But there is now separate ones. So it's good because it really sets out what their entitlements are as a casual employee, and same with the full-time and part-time as well.
So I know you've got to give it to new employees. That's mandatory.
Yeah.
So that's legislation.
Yep.
Is it a good idea to give it to
existing
ones?
Yeah, absolutely. Yep.
Okay.
I would do that. I mean, if you don't, it's not the end of the world, but all new employees coming in should have it.
Yes.
And that's their entitlement to receive that. But I think it's best practice also give it to existing employees as well.
So could there be some pushback from casual employees if they got this statement?
No, I don't think so. I think it just really makes them aware of what their entitlements are, and makes them aware that, if they do see this regular pattern of employment, that they do have those choices then to talk to the employer down the track and say, actually, I would like to go for a house. I could do with some permanent employment or things like that. So just it gives them options, I think, and I don't expect there to be pushback. No.
And like the last point we discussed, the update to employment contracts for casuals now need to be incorporating the rules around migrating from casual to
definitely.
So what does that look like?
So in my documentation that I write, I just put a clause in there. So I basically say that if you are a casual with what we call regular systematic hours, after 12 months, if you would like to become a permanent employee, to reach out to the employer, but also we as employer have an obligation to let you know, is this something that you would like to do as well? So it's just about, I guess, ensuring that there's open lines of communication from both parties, and that's an option down the track. And I would also write a policy about it as well, just to make sure it's all set out and expectations are clear.
Dot the I's, cross the T's.
Correct, yes.
So I've had an employee in the past who insisted on being a casual employee, preferred the higher wages. Because didn't want the sick leave, didn't want the annual leave. So how does that impact
it's often,
from a long-term point of view?
Yeah, well, it's so what's really important to do as an employer, and I've actually experienced this with a client at the moment, is to make sure that you are regularly checking in with the employee and saying, you know, if they have been there for over a year in that sort of ongoing casual systematic hours, check in and say, you know, do you want to be permanent? Is this something that you consider? If they choose to stay casual, then to get that signed off. So to make sure that, you know, you're both the employer and the employer saying, nah, I'd rather stay casual. Let's have a written agreement about that.
Yes.
Because that way everyone's on the same page, but it also is the employer's protection in the future that they have been offered it, but they've chosen to stay casual.
Okay.
So,
okay.
Yeah.
So, well, you said you had an example of a employer. Are there many examples, or are there just sort of, far and few between?
Yeah, I've been dealing with a case at the moment, and we've got a casual employee who's been with us, one of my clients, for 6 years, I think.
Okay.
So since this whole law has come in, it's probably been a couple of years. So we've made sure that we've given them the opportunity to become permanent if they wanted to, because they work about 13 or 14 hours a week, and it is consistent. It's the same shifts every week.
Yes.
And so we make sure that they are given that opportunity, and we, you know, get them to sign off on it. We document it. Yes. And
Absolutely.
that has come, you know, back. It's to me, that's just the best protection you can do, because then that way in the future they can't say, well, we were never given that opportunity, or
that's true.
anything like that. So,
but could Fair Work overturn that at any point?
Look, every case is different.
Okay.
And I think if that casual employee did feel that they were treated unfairly or something like that, and it did go to Fair Work for something, I think Fair Work looks at everything.
Right.
So every case is so different. I think as long as you have evidence to support the fact that they were a casual employee, you've got those signatures to identify, you know, that they were given the opportunity, that they chose not to be.
Yes.
And that's the best thing that you can do. So just
True.
evidence. Always make sure you get everything in writing is the quote that I live by.
I'm getting that gist, that feel that, yes, we need lots of evidence.
Yeah, I think that's my thing, because I always, as a HR consultant, I'm working for employers all the time. So, you know, they are the people that I represent. So it is consistently a thing that I'm seeing, especially in small business, is a lot of casual employees. So it's just about maintaining that, or making sure that they are, you know, because the small business don't have an HR, they often don't have an HR department or anything like that.
That's right.
So I kind of come in at very sporadic times to assist, and then I find that not many people have done not many employers have done what they need to do to make sure that, you know, legally they've covered themselves.
That's right.
So that's why I come in, and often I'm backpedaling, trying to make sure that they've done what they need to do. So if there's any advice I can give, it's to make sure that with casual employment that, you know, you have that.
And that's a hard call in some respects. You know, small business, they've got to spend money to, you know, add all of this process. But I suppose if you look at it from the point of view that it's like an insurance policy, really.
Absolutely. Yeah.
And get someone in like you, and there's not many of yous around.
No.
So
not that I know of. I don't look at my competition, but
no.
Yeah.
I think, you know, that I can see the benefits for the employee because, you know, you potentially job security.
Yeah, absolutely.
You know, and they can convert to permanent or part-time, and then there's clarity as well.
Yeah,
so there's a pathway. Whereas for employers, I see that, you know, it's just another layer of compliance that they have to administer, you know, and it's sort of almost to the point where small businesses have to have a unique resource of people, you know, accountants, lawyers, HR, general insurances, you know, it's sort of, that is sort of outsourced. It's like a not a one-stop shop like the bigger boys. The small businesses have to really build those relationships with trusted advisors, and that can be tough. And I suppose as a business owner, you're probably very good at what you do. But you're probably not so good at running a business.
Absolutely.
Which is, as an accountant, I find that a lot of times. And it's, you know, one client sort of says, well, why do I need to do that? Well, there's a legislation around about working from home now with diaries, the ATO want. And the client says, well, I'll take it on the chin and, I'll look at that. I'll take that on board. Just put down, 8 hours a week. And I'm like, no, but the ATO want a diary. I'm not doing a diary.
Yes.
And it's like, well, then you can't get the deduction.
Exactly. You can only educate. I think that's the thing. You can and that's what I say. I say to my clients, I can educate you, but it's your choice whether you choose to implement what I'm suggesting.
Wise words, Cassie. Wise words.
You do your part and then the rest is on them, I think.
Yeah. And another benefit for the employees is that they then learn their rights as well, because a lot of employees don't necessarily know their rights.
Exactly.
They're sort of oblivious to it all. So because, it's not their thing that they have to do.
No, exactly. They're doing what they specialize in.
Correct.
I'm doing what I specialize in, and same to you.
Yeah. Exactly.
Yeah.
Good stuff.
Yeah.